Hello, my name is Robert Cody Fernandez. I am with Columbus State University. I am a senior in the Computer Science IT department. And today we are going over the Senior Database Python project. So this works with CSV files in the data science area, and this also works with HTML and providing a website for it. Right now it's only a local host, but that is more than enough to show the basics of HTML and how HTML works. So as you can see from the README note I have up here, and I also posted on GitHub, you will need Python 3.7. You will need to create a direct path to Python, like direct path, so that way you can use certain commands. You will need the PyCharm framework. There is a community version that is free. Now, for the path, for the project, you will need to install the Flask library, myplot library, Seaborn library, and the Pandas library. These will all be imported within the code. There is a file as well in this called the heart.csv file that will be in the GitHub website as well. These are the technologies and languages you will use: Python, HTML, Matplotlib, PyCharm, Flask, Seaborn, and Pandas. So let's go right into the code, show you how the code works, why I use this code, and the purposes of each part. So let me explain the data science behind this. For the data science, you'll need Matplotlib, Seaborn, and Pandas. These will help in creating definitions or relabeling for one area, because if we do not relabel, we would basically have zeros and ones for each bar, each graph, and we would not know what it's meant to line up to. We will not know what 0 means, what 1 means, what 2 means. You know, we would just see 0, 1, and 2 as the bars, and we would not know what each color and what each bar color represents. We do make a copy of this to prevent any problems in the information. That way the main information can stay raw, but we can duplicate it, and we can also remove duplicates, aka any parts of the data that is done twice. Like, let's say age is done with female, and then there's another, or gender is done with F for female, M for male, and then it's done again typed out male, female. We can just remove it, like any labels that are done twice. So down here, before we talk about this, we're going to talk about the figures. This right here is the correlation map. We had did a sb.heatmap, that is the Seaborn. What we did here is we made it to where all correlations can relate to each other. I will show the graph on this a little bit later, but basically this will show anything that correlates to what. Like what all items of age correlate to age, or what all items of cholesterol relate to cholesterol, like how correlated it is, like if it's really close to each other or not at all. The hotter the number, the closer it is, and vice versa. The cooler the number, the least likely it is related. What we also have here is a histograph. For here we chose the size. The title is the prevalence right here for the age, and we do different ones for each one. This one will show the age and the output. This base, the PLT, that's the Matplotlib. Just go back up here. Yep, a little more. CPLT is Matplotlib. And it works similar to each of these. So I'm going to show that in a minute. Next, I'm actually going to talk about the HTML. The HTML, it looks very simple, and it is simple once you get a hold of it, but it's very tricky to understand at first, because What you don't realize is a lot of these right here are commands that need to like open and close. These are not, this is basically how you lay out your website. Like H1 here is the header. This is the first label. This is the label you first see. And before that, you have to like decide how you want your screen to look, color. Like I have a background color at the top here for my whole background screen of the main page. Right here. Burleywood, which is a nice brown. And for each line, you have to make a new paragraph. Otherwise, you'll just have one big line saying this, and then this, and then if you don't break it into paragraphs. I learned that the hard way. So what you do here is you make up a new paragraph with less than P, and then less than / P greater than P. This shows you a new paragraph. Then you can make another one here for a button, and so on and so on. These right here are what we call basically document links. These will link up to a website of a certain path. So we have our local port here for our website, and then we have the / correlations. This will lead us to the correlation map, the heat map I was talking about. This one works similarly, but this one will take us to the age. So this is kind of a setup for like a very simple website. It's gonna be kind of 90s, early 2000s, because HTML was kind of works that way. It looks that way. You can make it look more advanced, but considering I've only did this project for 4 weeks, it's not going to be super glamorous like websites nowadays, but it's a really good start. And this is also good practice, like if you want to do like a resume website with like projects that you've done, or like a website for yourself, and like link up projects for your GitHub. It's like, this is the website of Robert Cody Fernandez. I have this project here. You can click this button to go directly to that GitHub, and so on and so on and so on. This is really a good start for anyone that wants to get into web development, but only knows maybe a little bit of Java and a little bit of Python. Websites like W3 School touch on this more, and this is a really good start. I actually have trouble with web design, and this right here helped me understand the basis of HTML. So now let's look at the code. So we're starting it up, and you see right here, this is the local port of the Flask. Now let's go back to our main code. Right here, we import Flask and render template. Flask is the import that lets us use HTML key codes. This basically allows us to use HTML and work with this. It's really simple. Another one is used as well in Python. However, a lot of people highly recommend Flask. So let's go to the website. So you can see the background is that nice burly wood, or that brown. You can call it burly wood. Our website header is huge. I wanted this huge because I wanted like this to be like a focal point. So like this is to be an example. Like let's say next time I make a website, I want it to be this website is dedicated to the projects shown by Columbus State University student XYZ, or this website is dedicated to COVID-19 graphs in the Columbus, Georgia area. This is a very basic website that you can keep up to date. You don't have to update the website itself. You can update the data from behind. So here I told you I have a paragraph and then a button. Paragraph button. Now you can do hyperlinks too if you want. A hyperlink down here is okay. A button kind of makes it more professional, kind of gives it more of a up-to-date look, you know, something that people are more familiar with. Now here's the correlation map I was talking about. As you can see, the colder the number, the bluer the number, the least likely it is to be within reach of actually being correlated. So like you can see here, age to age, they're the same thing. They're going to be the hottest numbers, 1, 1, 1, 1, because these are the same. You know, age is going to affect age, old peak is going to affect old peak, SLP is going to affect, you know, SLP, and so on. The reason I want to do a correlation map, I've never done a correlation map before. I've never done a heat map before, and I wanted to do that in my last project. So when I found a code that works, this was awesome. So you just press back here, and once you close that, you can check out another graph. Let's check out heart attacks by maximum heart rate. Now this does take a little bit of time, but it won't take forever, probably 30 seconds at most. A minute if you have really bad connection, like right now. That took about 15-20 seconds. Not bad. So this is our prevalence of heart attack by maximum heart rate. You can have it maximized, you can have it minimized, you can have it however you want. And you just go back. So this is our HTML and data science project. Now I do have the code up in GitHub. Oops, that's not GitHub. That's not the internet. I don't know what that was. So we have our README text here. We have the heart CSV file right here. The index, this is the HTML. And the main, which is where we have all our data science parts. This is where you will find our graph layouts. This is where you will find our data. Or no, I take that back. This is where you will find our data. This is where you will find our data imported to. This is where you see it uploaded to. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm also going to put this into the YouTube page for you guys as well. So I hope the biggest thing you get out of this is actually the HTML more, because the HTML website's build is not complicated. It just is a little tedious. You might not be as familiar. Like, this might seem a lot at first, but you just got to remember the first thing is you want to put the style and then what you want the website to say, you know. This actually was probably the funnest part for me because I've never used HTML, and working on it in just maybe 1 to 1.5 weeks of improving it and understanding it was a big breakthrough for me in understanding more of computer science. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, this is Robert Cody Fernandez with CSU and Python, HTML, and data science. Y'all have a good day.